From Evoke Media, I'm Sabrina Mirage Naeem. With me is Cassia Binkowski, and this is Breaking Glass, a series of conversations with women around the world who are shattering glass ceilings and challenging social norms. They are audacious, gutsy, and their stories are echoed across borders and generations in a rallying cry that is changing the narrative for women everywhere. Today's conversation takes us to Rwanda to chat with Dr. Agnes Binagwaho, pediatrician turned Minister of Health to now the Senior Advisor at the World Health Organization. Dr. Agnes co-founded the University of Global Health Equity, where she's disrupting yet another system and trying to rebuild global health education to achieve gender equity and create more leadership opportunities for women.
Sabrina, I think what's particularly amazing about this story is that Dr. Agnes left Rwanda with her family when she was just a child. She pursued and completed her medical education and training in Europe, and then she decides to move her young family back to Rwanda just 2 years after the mass genocide occurs.
It's true. Her story today takes us right back to that moment, landing in a broken and dangerous country, pushing through her fear and desire to run back to the safety of Europe like any of us would. And since then, Dr. Agnes has rebuilt the country's health sector and become one of the foremost public health leaders and advocates. It's really an incredible story.
It is. We're talking today about genocide and social justice. We're talking about gender equity and health leadership. But perhaps most importantly, we're talking about what exactly Dr. Agnes wishes for the next generation of girls growing up in Rwanda. Let's dive in. Dr. Agnes, thank you so much for joining us today.
It's my pleasure to be with you, Cassia.
It really is an honor to have you on the show. Your family left Rwanda in the late 1950s. It sounds like your father went to Belgium and he had a medical career of his own, and you started your own medical career in Europe. You had 2 young children. And then in 1996, just 2 years after the genocide of 1 million Tutsis, you decided to take your young family back to the country where you were born. Can you take us back to that moment and kind of start your story there? Why did you decide to go back to Rwanda?
I decided to go back to Rwanda because the father of my daughters decided to go back in Rwanda anyway. And I thought that we need to give a try. I just say, let's go. I didn't believe it will work, though, but I will say, let's go. We need to give a try and at least show that that I'm from goodwill, that it's important for the family to be together, for kids at that age, especially around a period where there was so much, even if we were not directly traumatized. It was a very stressful time for all of us, and especially the kids who cannot understand that because so many cousins were killed, so many aunts they know were killed, that if their father will have gone alone, they will absolutely be too distressed. So we better go all together. That will. I thought it will be better for the family. And that's how I went.
So that must have been extremely challenging for you, given you left Rwanda when you were a child. You had a medical degree, you started your medical career, your children were all born in Europe, you had a life there. And what was happening in Rwanda was a very extreme, situation that for all intents and purposes, you had already, shielded your family from the danger of it. And then you decided to kind of go dive right back in, leave your career, start fresh, take your children there. What was it like when you first went back? What was the environment like for you and for your family?
It was hell. It was not easy. There was nothing we were used to. We had a very comfortable life. Even what we were eating was not the same. My children have to leave their friends. I was starting in an environment where the equipment, the knowledge, the staffing was totally at that time substandard, and also a country where we didn't have real connection at that time, because we grew up. No, I grew up knowing I will never go back there, and my children also. And so it was not easy. The only thing that was sure is that if we were keeping some rules of security, we were safe. That means there was no direct threat physically of its security. There were curfew at that time. At 6 o'clock, you have to be in town. You cannot be in between two towns. You just have to respect that. And so that's what we found.
So you arrived in what you call was hell. It was, a really bad situation. There was still a lot of trauma, a lot of heartbreak.
People were coming, the interim we were coming from Congo, coming to inside Rwanda to kill people.
So it was still extremely dangerous.
If you respect the security, not being in town on time and etc., you were safe. So we were managing to do that, but it was an environment that we were not used to. Yes.
So when you got there, you kind of looked around at the broken medical system and you thought, I might be able to do something about this. But it was an extremely challenging situation, and at some point you wanted to run away. Is that right?
Yeah. It's not that I think my first reaction was to run away.
And why didn't you?
The reality is that I'd say, oh my goodness, there is nothing, no equipment, no the lab capacity I'm used to. I spend my day to save a baby, and I come the day after and he die because he was badly managed for some, etc., etc. So I say, if I stay in this situation, I will lose my mind. Why I stay is because I realized that it was a very selfish reaction. I'm going to lose my mind because I cannot support difficult situation that I'm not even in suffering directly. Because what about the mothers who are losing their kids, the parents and the kids themselves who lose their life? So I just realized that I was wrong. That was the wrong reaction. You don't make your life to be comfortable. It's time to think to make your life to be accepted.